Welcome back to Everyday Stories, where we explore the little things around us and the big stories behind them. Today, let's talk about parking meters. Yeah, those little grey poles that eat your quarters, or more likely now, your credit card tabs. But beneath their boring exterior, drama, especially in Chicago. Let's rewind to 2008, the middle of the Great Recession. Cities around this country were strapped for cash. Chicago was desperate. Mayor Richard had an idea: lease out the city's parking meters. Private investors would pay a huge lump sum upfront. In return, they'd collect all the parking revenue for decades to come. Exactly 75 years. On paper, it sounded like a win. Quick money to plug budget holes. So, in a rush deal, just 4 days, with barely any public discussion, Chicago handed over control of 36,000 parking meters. The price? 1.15 billion US dollars. The buyer? A private group led by Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, the wealth fund of the United Arab Emirates. At first, it seemed like a solid move. Budget crisis? Handled. But then the details sank in. That 1.15 billion? Way too low. Later estimates suggested the meters were worth closer to $2 billion or even more. Worse, Chicago lost control over its own street. Want to close a road for a parade, a festival, or even street repairs? The city had to pay the private company for the lost meter revenue, basically reimbursing them for parking people weren't even using. And parking fees? They shot up. In some neighborhoods, rates quadrupled. People were furious. Local shop owners said customers were staying away. One resident told the Chicago Tribune, "It's like we sold the sidewalks and forgot to read the fine print." For many working class Chicagoans, what used to be a few quarters turned into dollars in a day, a real burden. Now here's the kicker. All that money Chicago got, it didn't even solve the problem. It was spent quickly, mostly on plugging short-term budget gaps, no long-term investments, no infrastructure overhaul, just gone. This kind of deal is called a public-private partnership, or PPP. And while they can work when done with care and transparency, Chicago's parking meter deal has become the poster child for how not to do it. And maybe the most frustrating part, Chicago had other options. It could have borrowed the money,